So we're going to talk about ALUS Balance Mode. I think the S stands for step. So let's talk about these letters and how do you get the measurements. Do you see that AI? That AI, when you pull out the ruler, that AI is measuring the distance to the first weight. The AE, if you continue to pull out the ruler, that's going to measure the distance to the second weight. Now, the DI and DE, the DI is going to be the inner distance. So that's going to be the diameter of the rim from the inner weight. And the DE is going to be the diameter of the rim from the outer weight. You put all those variables in, all those parameters in, and then you go ahead and balance your rim as normal. So guys, I just want to give you a quick video on this ALUS mode. And I think the S is going to stand for step, right? Because I guess it's a step. But the way you get into this mode, and this is from the Katools BT700, is I think you hit the F and you just keep hitting the aluminum until you get to the ALUS. Let's talk about these parameters first. The AI parameter is going to be the distance to the weight. So your weight is going to be, this is going to be your AI parameter. So that inner distance to the weight is going to be your AI parameter, and the weight on the outside is going to be the AE parameter. Okay, so AI to the weight, AE to the weight. And the way you measure it is just you take your measuring stick and you go to the first weight. That's going to be your inner. That's going to be your AI. And you measure it to where that second weight's going to be, and that will be your AE parameter. Okay. Now, the two other parameters are going to be the DI and the DE parameter. And the DI is the distance from the inner rim for that weight. So you find your weight, right guys? You find your weight. Your weight's going to be right here, and you have to measure that distance all the way to the bottom of the rim. So your inner weight right there is going to be right there. If you can visualize that inner weight there on top of the rim, that you just measured, the AI. Now we're looking at that DI. So if that weight's going to be here, then you're going to measure the distance to the bottom of the rim, right? And that's going to be your DI parameter. And your DE parameter, DE is going to correlate to your AE. So that's that outer weight, and that's going to be the distance from that weight, the outer diameter of the rim, down to the bottom of the rim. So those are your parameters there. And it says for a shortcut, you can either measure the inside DI and DE with a soft ruler manually, or it states that you can take the diameter of your rim. So if you have an 18-inch rim, you take the 18 inches and you subtract 1 inch. So it says subtract 1 inch. So your inner diameter, your DI, will be 18 minus 1 is 17. And your DE, the outside diameter, will be the 18 minus 2 is 16, right? And then for this particular model, to change those parameters, you just follow the instructions. So these instructions state that pull out the distance, so I'm at number 2, pull out the distance ruler, lean in against the position of the rim, and it says by pressing A plus or A minus, we can change that AI parameter. So let's say that we were 10 inches out. We had to pull this 10. Let's suppose we had to pull this, I don't know, say 10 inches out to get to that first weight. So then we'll go up here and we'll put in the 10. And that says we had to pull this all the way out to say 21 to get to where that outer weight would be. And that will be your AE parameter, right? And it says for your AE parameter, by pressing C plus A plus or C and A minus, we can get to that AE parameter. So let's suppose that was 21. So it says I'm going to press the C and the A. You see how we got the AE? I'm holding my hand on the C and I can press either up. I got that AE parameter. So now I'm just pressing the key down to my 21, right? Because that was our distance to the outside, right? So, well, if it's not 20, closest number, so AE. So that's how we got our AE parameter, right? Now we're looking at our DI and DE. So that's supposed for our inner weight we measured, that's supposed for our inner weight we measure 17. And for our outer weight, we measure the distance from the rim, we measure 16. So now to get to our DI parameter, right? We look and it says pressing D plus or D minus, we can measure our DI. So D plus or D minus, we can get to our DI. And let's suppose that was 17, right? And it says for our DE parameter, we have to hold the C while pressing D plus or D minus. So let's suppose that was 16. So let's press that D right there, right? So let's get to our 16 for our DE, right? There we go.